We are in Section 3, Part 3. Section 3 is about the agile processes and the workshops within them. And in Part 3, we will be covering the activities and workshops of the initiating a project process. There are 7 activities in this initiating a project process which are tailored for agile. Now, these activities need not happen sequentially. Sometimes they may be overlapping and sometimes revisited again. There are 2 workshops in this process, the project initiation workshop and the project kickoff workshop, in which all the activities of this process will be completed, or almost most of it. The project manager takes a key role in preparing for the workshops. They will review the daily log and the lessons log, look at all the project documentation, gather them in a way so that they can be presented, and they will be used as an input for the upcoming workshop, whichever one that is. And they will also define the participants for the workshops, set the dates and invite them. The documentation during workshops can be informal because it's PRINCE2 Agile, and therefore the project manager or even the project support may have to follow up after the workshops by putting the information into agreed formats and locations, and then communicating these to the project team afterwards as needed. So let us look into the 7 activities of this process. These are agree tailoring requirements, agree the management approaches, establish project controls, prepare the project plan, prepare the full business case, assemble the PID, and request project authorization, while only 3 of them are shown on this slide. We begin with agreeing the tailoring requirements. This is done by the project manager. They consult or work along with the other project team members. They gather lessons on how to apply tailoring and define the tailoring accordingly within the PID. And this is done in the project initiation workshop. There may be, for example, lessons on how agile estimation was done in a better way in a previous project. And then agree the management approaches. The project manager, again, they will work with the project team members. They will review the tailoring requirements, look at the lessons for the management approaches. There are 9 management approaches, and which are related to change, communication, sustainability, benefits, commercial, quality, risk issues, and digital and data. The digital and data are combined into one approach. By the way, the lessons part here is actually already gathered in the starting up a project process based on previous project experiences of similar projects. But those become information to deal with in this process in these initial 2 activities. In fact, in many of the activities of this process. Now, in terms of the management approaches, they remain the same as they are structured in PRINCE2 Project Management, but the quality management approach in particular needs attention. It has the agile artifacts, such as the definition of ready and definition of done. And those will be included in the agile version of the quality management approach. So this is also discussed in the project initiation workshop. Next, we have the establishing the project controls. So this is again done in a collaborative manner by the project manager. And based on the delivery methods, lessons, tailoring, and the management approaches, we'll create the controls, specifically the stage boundaries, the tolerances for the project, the escalation procedures, the decision-making procedures, and thus describe the project controls. These are done in both workshops, namely the project initiation and the project kickoff. Then we have preparing the project plan. In PRINCE2 Agile, this is actually the release map, the initial release map, which gets updated stage to stage. Again, in a collaborative manner, the project manager reviews the management approaches, understands the resources, standards, methods, and costs for the work to be done, and considers whether the project backlog needs to be updated, identifies the arrangements for the transition of the project product into operational use, identifies, confirms people and resources required and their availability, and documents the release map. And this is done in the project initiation workshop. The project backlog, by the way, is the PRINCE2's project product description, which is created in the starting up a project. And it contains high-level product descriptions as epic user stories in PRINCE2 Agile. And as I mentioned, it is created in the starting up a project process. Whereas the project plan is in the form of a release map. And particularly the initiation stage plan, which was created in the previous process in the starting up a project, that was the initial release map. But now that initial release map, which was the initiation stage plan, will be used and updated further to create a project plan. The initial release map would have epic user stories and the MVP to be created in the initiation stage. Next, we have preparing the full business case. Here, the project manager, again, in a collaborative manner, um, looks out for the lessons for the business case development from previous projects, which was gathered in the starting up a project process, and creates a more detailed project canvas with the additional detail gained during planning. As therefore, in PRINCE2 Agile, the full business case is known as the project canvas. And this is done in the project initiation workshop. Note that the MVP that I mentioned as part of preparing the project plan, where the release map is updated, even though the release map initially would be in the starting up a project process, having been created there with epic user stories or MVP for the initiation stage. The actual MVP will be created when the actual delivery starts. Then moving on, we will go on to the remaining two activities. First of all, assemble the PID and then request project authorization. So when assembling the PID, the project manager takes information from the project brief, includes or references information in the project management team structure, role descriptions, project canvas, management approaches, release map, and project controls, and cross-checks all these to ensure that they are compatible and assembles the PID, project initiation documentation, that is, in both these workshops, the initiation and the kickoff workshops for the project. By the way, the project brief, which was created in starting up the project process, it would have the project definition, the project approach, the team structure, the outline business case, and the project product description, and the initiation stage plan. In the PRINCE2 Agile version, we have very similar in the project brief, the project definition, the project approach, the team structure. Then we have the project canvas, the initial one, and the project backlog, which is equivalent to the project product description. And the project canvas, by the way, equivalent of the outline business case of PRINCE2. Then we have lastly requesting project authorization, essentially because it's the initiating a project process, after which it goes into the managing a stage boundary process in that initiation stage, and eventually the delivery management stages will begin. Therefore, the project manager is requesting authorization for executing the project using those delivery stages. This is where the project manager shares the final version of the project canvas at this point in time, which is the detailed business case, the PID, which includes the detailed business case of the project canvas along with the other items, and the release map as well, which is the project plan. With the project board, all these are shared and formally request approval to execute or deliver the project. This is not as part of a workshop, but it's a separate request. So we have the two workshops coming up. Let's understand them. Firstly, the project initiation workshop. This specifically aligns the team on the vision of the project, the objectives and goals, and develops a high-level release map. And also the various management approach. Compared to PRINCE2 project management, in PRINCE2 Agile, the management approaches need to be more flexible and easy to read and understand. Generally, documentation in PRINCE2 Agile is more visual and informal. So primarily, the participants in the workshop will collaboratively define the definition of ready and definition of done. They will also assess the agile readiness using the Agilometer. They will develop personas high-level release map, project backlog, and refine the project canvas. Then there's a shared understanding of project scope and releases, quality standards, governance, and how to enhance agile adoption, which creates a good foundation for proper execution of the project aligned with organizational objectives in subsequent delivery stages.